During the 17th century, an expansive self-governing community known as Palmares flourished in northeastern Brazil. It was established and led by individuals who had escaped from slavery, commonly referred to as Maroons. Remarkably, Palmares became one of the largest Maroon settlements in the world, with a population exceeding 10,000. Its inhabitants constantly engaged in conflict with colonial forces. Our knowledge of Palmares primarily comes from biased accounts provided by Dutch and Portuguese sources. Nevertheless, historians have managed to reconstruct much of its history. The transatlantic slave trade, which began in the 1500s, resulted in nearly half of all enslaved African people being transported to Brazil, Portugal's American colony. Some managed to escape and sought refuge in the interior regions of Brazil, where they established settlements called mocambos or quilombos. Fugitives from slavery likely arrived in the Northeast during the late 1500s. By the 1660s, these independent communities had consolidated into a powerful confederation known as the Quilombo of Palmares. The confederation comprised a central capital connecting numerous villages, each specializing in specific agricultural products or serving as military training grounds. The citizens of Palmares, known as Palmaristas, were governed by a king and defended by a well-organized military. People of African descent, as well as Brazilian-born black and indigenous individuals, sought refuge within Palmares. Together, they engaged in fishing, hunting, livestock rearing, and the cultivation of crops such as cassava, corn, and sugarcane. The abundant palm trees in the region, from which Palmares derived its name, provided resources for the community. Palm products were transformed into items such as butter, wine, and light. Palmaristas skillfully crafted pipes from palm husks and created mats and baskets from palm leaves. They engaged in trade with Portuguese settlers, exchanging these goods for products like gunpowder and salt. In return, the settlers refrained from raiding Palmares, during which they would confiscate weapons and capture individuals. While the Portuguese were preoccupied with other invading forces, they perceived indigenous uprisings and Palmares as internal threats. Palmares posed a significant danger to the institution of slavery, which served as the foundation of Brazil's economy. Consequently, the Portuguese escalated their attacks during the 1670s. Ganga Zumba, the leader of Palmares at that time, ruled from the capital known as Macaco. Other villages were governed by his allies and family members, with women playing vital roles in the operation and defense of the community. Palmaristas skillfully utilized the landscape to their advantage, constructing mocambos in high places that provided excellent vantage points. They dug concealed ditches lined with sharp stakes, ensnaring unsuspecting soldiers, and set up false roads to lead the Portuguese forces into ambushes. Under the cover of darkness, they launched counterattacks and continuously shifted their settlements to elude the Portuguese. In 1678, after years of unsuccessful attacks, the Portuguese offered to negotiate a peace treaty with Ganga Zumba. The terms of the agreement recognized Palmares' independence and granted freedom to anyone born within its borders. However, the treaty demanded that Palmares pledge loyalty to the crown and return all past and future fugitives from slavery. Many Palmaristas dissented, including Zumbi, Ganga Zumba's nephew, who was a rising leader himself. In a short time, Ganga Zumba was killed, likely by a group associated with his nephew. As the new leader of Palmares, Zumbi rejected the treaty and continued the resistance for another 15 years. However, in February 1694, the Portuguese successfully captured the capital of Palmares after a devastating siege. Although Zumbi managed to escape initially, he was eventually located and ambushed by Portuguese forces. On November 20, 1695, Zumbi was killed, dealing a severe blow to Palmares. After years of warfare, the number of rebels in the region dwindled significantly. Nonetheless, those who remained rallied around new leaders and maintained a presence, albeit a small one, until the 1760s. While Palmares may no longer exist, thousands of other quilombos, similar autonomous communities, persist in Brazil to this day. November 20th, the day of Zumbi's death, is celebrated throughout Brazil as the Day of Black Consciousness. However, it's crucial to acknowledge that Zumbi was just one of many Palmaristas. While only a few of their names are known to us, their fight for freedom reverberates through the centuries.